there's this kind of like this mentality that we don't want to get Russia too angry. The problem with that, as speaking from a parent, if you don't discipline a spoiled child regularly, that tantrum gets worse and worse, and then you really have to break down the belt.
If you guys remember, on the first day of Joe Biden's presidency, he issued an executive order canceling the construction of the Keystone Pipeline, which would have came down from Canada into the United States, would have brought, I think, hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil every single day in the United States, supported over 10,000 American jobs, and he nixed it on day one. Now we come a little over 100 days into Biden's presidency, and what is he doing? He's supporting a pipeline, a Russian-owned pipeline that's going to go through some areas in Europe. And so he's fine with Russian pipelines, but he's not fine with Canadian and American pipelines. So I want to show you guys a video quick of Joe Biden doubling down on his stance and his ridiculous reasoning for it.
Why have you decided to meet with President Putin? And why are you letting Germany and Russia to continue building Nord Stream 2?
Because it's almost completely finished, number one. The idea that anything that, and it's not like I can allow Germany to do something or not. I have been opposed to Nord Stream 2 from the beginning, but it only has, it's almost completed by the time I took office. And to go ahead and impose sanctions now would, I think, be counterproductive in terms of our European relations. They know how strongly I feel, and I hope we can work on how they handle it from this point on.
Wow. So make no mistake, after seeing that, Joe Biden is anti-American worker. It's quite disturbing. So Biden says his reasoning for canceling it is it would be counterproductive, that it would hurt European relations. Do you guys remember when he canceled the Keystone Pipeline? Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came out and condemned it. It hurt U.S.-Canadian relations, which arguably is one of the most important relationships that America has. They're our northern neighbors. We have a lot of trade with them. The Keystone Pipeline would have been a great addition.
They are America's hat.
Yeah, they are.
And it doesn't get much closer than that.
So Biden's concerned about relations with Russia and damaging those relations. And he said, I don't want to cancel it because it's almost complete. Remember, the Keystone Pipeline was almost complete. It was under construction, supporting thousands of American jobs, all kinds of union workers being employed by this project. Biden canceled it. He didn't care about it being counterproductive to America and Canada, but he cared about it being counterproductive to Russia. So, why do you guys think Biden is fine with canceling the Keystone Pipeline, but he's not fine with imposing sanctions on the Russian pipeline? What do you think?
It's interesting. What's most troubling about this tack that Biden is taking is the message it sends to Russia. Under Obama, when Russia invaded Ukraine and took over Crimea, what was the American response? Senate passed sanctions, but Obama was pretty silent on the whole issue.
Right.
There's this kind of like this mentality that we don't want to get Russia too angry. The problem with that, as speaking from a parent, if you don't discipline a spoiled child regularly, that tantrum gets worse and worse, and then you really have to break down the belt.
Right.
Nobody wants a war here, right? The way you avoid a war is having pressure put on state actors who are not acting the way the entire international community wants us to. So this whole pipeline blows my mind that he's willing to anger 11,000 Americans who lost their jobs and countless jobs that are supported by the pipelines when we already have 1.3 million miles of pipeline in the ground today.
Right.
Yeah.
The XL pipeline, I think I heard on 4 to 5,000 miles in total, a drop in the bucket towards pipelines that are already in the ground today. They don't want, so he's fine to anger thousands of Americans, but he doesn't want to anger the Russians.
Yeah, the other thing is the hypocrisy here from an environmental standpoint. It sort of implies that it's okay for European pipelines to exist as opposed to Americans, as if the pipelines run by the Russians are going to be less given to spills or accidents, or because we all know the Russian reputation for manufacturing quality. And not to mention their highly efficient environmental regulations. it's ridiculous. It makes sense in every way, even environmentally, given the fact that pipelines are going to exist. Okay, if they are going to exist, it makes much more sense for those pipelines to exist in the U.S. than they do in Europe, and particularly when they're being put there by Russians, by any metric, by literally any metric. This is just Joe Biden. I mean, I'd have to go back to my my regular WJ Live question: Is Joe Biden being is he being stupid, or is he being dishonest? And I'm glad I'm not going to ask that question this week, because I don't know that I could choose between those two.